Hello, I'm Denver Henderson, the Assistant Director of the Williams County Public Library, with another episode of Oddly Peculiar. With the coming of spring, the one thing on our mind is the weather and how it changes so rapidly. Long sleeves in the morning, short sleeves by afternoon. But what also changes is how violent the weather can become in Williams County in the spring due to the geography being so flat. Windstorms and tornadoes are the subject of our episode, and I want to talk about three of the most violent tornadoes to ever hit Williams County. And we're going to start here at Barrett Cemetery outside of Kunkel to talk about the most violent tornado to ever hit the county. It's May 17th, 1894. Suddenly in the west, the sky darkens, and a violent tornado coming in from Indiana hits Kunkel. It hits the farm of Daniel Barrett. Daniel's in the house with his wife, Martha, and his two granddaughters, Myrtle and Martha Dazo. The house is devastated. Martha is thrown against a fence out front of the house. Myrta is also thrown. Martha is killed instantly. The wife, Martha, is found in a field across the road from the farm, and in a gruesome account in the Leader Enterprise newspaper, her head had been smashed to the, quote, consistency of jelly, and her leg was torn off. Daniel was killed instantly. Near this was the farm of Charlie and Martha Moore, who are buried over here. Their house was not touched, but behind it was a lean-to kitchen where they took shelter. The lean-to was ripped up and thrown into the air, and they ended up near a pond. Charlie on the shore and Mrs. Moore in the pond. Both were injured, but they did recover. Now, along this side of the cemetery, there used to be a fence. Plowing in the field behind me was a man named George Oxender. He got caught in the tornado as well and was slammed into the side of the fence. He survived 2 hours after that and was able to tell them what had happened. This devastation was for about a 5-mile stretch between Kunkel and the Fulton County line. It was the most violent tornado that had ever hit Williams County. And next we're going to go to the northwest corner of the county and talk about another one that happened almost 100 years later. March 1991, here in Nettle Lake, the sky started to darken in the west, and suddenly a tornado tore through the area. It devastated the community of Nettle Lake, destroying campgrounds and trailer courts. It also destroyed the new campground general store that had just been built a few months before. But hard hit was this church, Nettle Lake United Brethren Church, which was completely destroyed. However, a unique factor of this particular disaster was some of the pews were still standing. One of the oddities of tornadoes is that it can destroy major structures and leave the smallest of things in place. July 4th weekend, 1957, here in Bryan. The day started out clear, but storm clouds soon gathered. In the afternoon, the unimaginable happened. A tornado swept through the center of town. There were no physical casualties, but the parking lot of the old Jefferson Hotel was wrecked. Trees were uprooted. Buildings were smashed and windows were broken. The most interesting thing that happened was the clock face on the west side of the courthouse tower popped out of the tower, the wind whipping it around to the east, where it came to rest in front of Schaefer's paint shop. The tornado traveled east, uprooting more trees, toppling trailers, and damaging houses. For several days, areas were roped off for the cleanup. The July 4th weekend tornado, up until that time, was the worst that had hit the downtown. There you have it. 3 stories of violent weather. They were terrifying, they were disastrous, and they were, of course, oddly peculiar.